I lied about my miscarriage to get sympathy online. It spiraled out of control, and now I don't know who I am anymore. This is my darkest secret. I've never told anyone in my real life, and I doubt I ever will. If anyone I know ever connected the dots, I don't know what I'd do. I just need to get it out. Maybe confessing anonymously will be enough. Started as something so small. Last year I, 27F, was in a really bad place mentally. I was unemployed after getting laid off from a job I actually liked. My relationship with my then boyfriend was falling apart, slowly and painfully. Most of my friends had either moved away or had kids, and I was feeling like I was stuck in a holding pattern while everyone else was moving forward. I spent most of my days online. Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I rotated between them like clockwork. I started lurking in support communities, places where people shared trauma, heartache, grief, and loss. I wasn't trying to fake anything at first. I was just reading. It felt like a strange kind of comfort to read people's stories. Not because I wanted them to hurt, but because I understood loneliness, even if mine was different. Then one night, I posted a comment under a thread about miscarriage. A woman had posted a heartbreaking story about losing her baby at 14 weeks. I don't know what possessed me, but I replied, "I went through this last year. I lost mine at 12 weeks. It broke me." That was the first lie. Got 100 plus upvotes. Replies flooded in. Support, love. People thanking me for sharing. Women opening up to me, saying they felt less alone. I'd never felt so seen, so validated. No one in my real life checked in on me like that. No one cried with me when I said I was struggling. But here, I was someone worth comforting. So I leaned in. I made a throwaway account, one of those anonymous usernames with numbers. I made a post in a women's health subreddit. I miscarried at 11 weeks and I can't stop blaming myself. I was so excited to be a mom. Now I just feel hollow. That post exploded. Thousands of upvotes. Hundreds of comments. DMs from strangers telling me how strong I was. That I was a warrior. That grief looks different for everyone and that I was allowed to feel broken. I soaked it up like a drug. The truth is, I'd never been pregnant. Ever. I never even had a pregnancy scare. My boyfriend and I used condoms religiously, and I'd been on the pill since I was 20. But I kept lying. I made follow-up posts. I said I was getting better. Then I said I had a breakdown. Then I said I went to therapy. People rooted for me. They followed the updates. Some even said they felt like they knew me. It went on for months. Eventually, I joined a support group on Discord made up of women who had been through miscarriages and stillbirths. They invited me in because they felt I understood the pain. I made friends there. Real ones. We shared Spotify playlists, pictures of our pets, inside jokes. They cried when I said I had bad days, and I cried, really cried, when they lost babies they actually carried. That's when it started to turn. Because every time I listened to them talk about the ultrasounds, the appointments, the bleeding, the silence in the room when there was no heartbeat, I felt more and more like a fraud. They lived this. I made it up. I couldn't contribute to those stories because I didn't have details. I used what I'd read, what I'd heard, what movies showed. I started Googling things just to keep up. What a 10-week ultrasound looks like, what a DNC procedure involves, how grief timelines work. Eventually, they started noticing things were off. One woman DM'd me privately and said she noticed I'd changed my story. First I said I lost the baby at 11 weeks, then 12. First I said it was a spontaneous miscarriage. Then I said it was a missed one requiring surgery. She said she wasn't trying to attack me, but that it felt strange. Panic. I ghosted the group chat. Blocked everyone. Deleted the Reddit account. Deleted the Discord handle. They probably know now. Or at least suspect. Maybe they talk about me like I'm some manipulative freak. Maybe they've moved on and don't care anymore. I don't know. But I think about it every day. I think about how I took space in a room I didn't belong in. How I let real women, grieving mothers, cry on my shoulder under false pretenses. How I used their pain to fill my own void. That void is still there, deeper now because it's full of shame. People always talk about how clout chasing is ruining the internet. I didn't think that's what I was doing. I wasn't trying to go viral or get famous. I wasn't asking for money or trying to scam anyone. I just wanted to be seen, to feel like someone gave a damn whether I got out of bed in the morning. But now I can't look at myself in the mirror without hearing those stories. The real ones. And knowing I inserted myself into a grief community with nothing but fiction. I still haven't told anyone in my real life. I sometimes think about going to a therapist and telling them, but I'm afraid they'll look at me like I'm sick. Or worse, that they won't even be surprised. I don't know if I'm a bad person or just a broken one, but I know I'll never do it again. And if any of the women I hurt are somehow reading this, I'm so sorry. I will always be sorry. I lied about having a miscarriage to get sympathy online. Months later, I'm still dealing with the fallout. Hi again. I honestly didn't expect to post again. I told myself I'd try to move on after that confession. Bury it, work through it quietly, maybe go offline altogether. But nothing really stays buried, does it? A lot has happened since I posted. If you didn't read my original thread, the short version is, I pretended I had a miscarriage online to get sympathy. It started as a comment, then grew into full Reddit posts, Discord chats, fake updates. It spiraled, and when people started to notice inconsistencies, I vanished. Ghosted the community I infiltrated. I confessed here because I couldn't live with it anymore. Well, that confession didn't disappear into the void. I forgot just how many people lurk on Reddit, and how easily things can travel. Screenshots. Here's him. One of the women from the Discord group found it. I don't know how. Maybe she recognized the writing. Maybe she followed a trail of my posts. Maybe it was just a gut feeling. But she messaged me through a new Reddit alt and said, "Was this you? The girl from the miscarriage support group?" If it is, I don't even know what to say. It felt like being punched in the chest. Froze. Deleted the message. Thought about denying it. Thought about pretending again. But then I sat there, staring at the message at the mirror behind my screen, and realized I didn't want to keep being that person, that liar. So I replied, "Yes, it was me. I'm sorry." She didn't reply right away. The next day she sent me a much longer message. I won't quote all of it, but parts burned into me. "You weren't just some stranger. We trusted you. I cried over your pain. I stayed up at night checking in on you. And all of it, it was fiction. I don't know what you were trying to get out of it, but you hurt people who were already grieving." And this line hit the hardest. You didn't just lie. You stole space that was sacred to us. She told me she had shared my story with her therapist because she felt connected to me. That she had used my made-up struggle as comfort for her own loss. I don't think I've ever cried like that before. Not even when my real life fell apart. Because it wasn't just a lie anymore. It was harm, damage, and no apology can unbreak something like that. After that, I did what I should have done months ago. I started therapy. I told the truth. All of it. From the first comment to the last fabricated message. My therapist didn't recoil. She didn't scold me. She just nodded and said something I didn't expect. "You were grieving something, even if it wasn't a baby." And that cracked me open. I've spent the last few months trying to figure out what I was grieving. It wasn't a miscarriage. But it was a version of myself I thought I'd be by now. Happy, loved, purposeful, part of something. I grieved the woman I imagined I'd be at 27. With a job, a partner, maybe a real family. Instead, I was alone, jobless, disconnected. And online looking for strangers to feel sorry for me because I didn't know how to feel sorry for myself. Still hard. There are nights I replay the lies in my head, feeling sick to my stomach. There are days I scroll past posts about pregnancy loss and immediately log off. There are mornings I wake up and feel like I don't deserve a fresh start. But I'm working on it. Got a new job. It's part-time, but I show up. Answer emails. Contribute. It's small, but it's real. I deleted my old Reddit accounts. This is a new one. I'm not going back to sympathy seeking. No more faking. No more harvesting grief I never earned. And for what it's worth, to anyone who read the original post and felt disgusted, you're right to feel that way. I was selfish. I was wrong. But I'm not asking for sympathy now. I'm just trying to become the kind of person who would never do that again. If you're reading this and you faked something online before, whether to get sympathy, attention, or escape your real life, I'm not going to shame you. But I am going to tell you, it will not fill the hole you're trying to patch. That void needs truth, not fiction. Final post. I lied about my miscarriage for sympathy. I lost people, but I found myself. This is it. The last time I'll post about this. It's been nearly a year since I made up the lie that I miscarried. Since I infiltrated an online support group meant for grieving mothers. Since I was caught, not with headlines or public takedowns, but with quiet messages from people I hurt deeply. Since I sat in my therapist's office and finally said the words, "I made it all up." That first lie came from a place I didn't understand. I thought I just wanted attention. I thought I was lonely, pathetic, invisible. But what I've learned, after months of therapy, reflection, and actual honesty, is that I wasn't just lying for attention. I was lying to make myself feel like I mattered. Somewhere deep down, I believed that pain was the only thing that made people pay attention. I grew up invisible. Parents who loved me, but only when I performed. Friends who drifted when I stopped being their therapist. Relationships where I always gave more than I received. When life finally came to a halt, job gone, relationship dying, no one calling, I felt erased. I wanted to scream. Look at me. I'm here. I'm hurting. So I took on someone else's grief. I stepped into a sacred space that was never mine to walk in. And people embraced me. They cried with me, listened to me, rooted for me. It was the most connected I'd ever felt. And then it all fell apart, as it should have. Because none of it was mine. When one of the women I lied to found my confession and messaged me, I thought about disappearing again. I almost deleted everything, vanished into another screen name, another version of myself. But I didn't. Instead, I responded. We didn't become friends. She didn't forgive me. She said her piece, and I listened. It hurt like hell. But it was the first honest exchange I'd had in a long time. And I'm grateful she gave me even that much. Since then, I've done the slow, boring, unglamorous work of rebuilding. I got a job, nothing fancy, but I show up and I do it honestly. I started volunteering at a crisis text line. I trained properly. I don't pretend to know pain I haven't felt. Listen, that's it. I told one real-life friend the truth. Not all the details, but enough. She didn't praise me for it, but she stayed. I've started writing again, not fake stories, not trauma porn, just me. My life, my real thoughts. Some of it is ugly, some of it is boring, but it's mine. And you know what's strange? There are moments now when I feel proud. Not of what I did. I'll never be proud of that. But proud that I didn't stay in that lie. That I faced it. That I let it wreck me. That I let myself feel the shame instead of hiding behind another screen name. If you're reading this and you've made the same kind of mistake, lied for attention, faked pain to get love, you already know it didn't work. You know that hollow feeling. That panic when people get too close to the truth. You can't fix it overnight. But you can stop digging the hole deeper. Confess. Sit with it. Get help. Then do something real with your time. To the women I hurt, I'll never deserve your forgiveness, but I promise I'll spend the rest of my life being someone worthy of your trust, even if you never give it to me again. To the people who saw me post and said, "This person is disgusting," you were right, but I'm trying to be better now. And to the version of me who made that first comment, see you now. You were scared, lonely, and desperate. You didn't need sympathy. You needed truth. You needed you. I'm here now. And I'm not lying anymore.